Welcome to Sisterhood Meets Motherhood, the podcast where two goddesses who happen to be related by marriage discuss all things family, purpose, sisterhood, faith, spirituality, and all the other divinely messy parts of womanhood. Every other week, Kendra and Sophie unmask from all the daily roles required of the modern woman to bring you refreshing and truthful conversations that remind you that you are, in fact, never alone on the journey. Welcome to episode 1.
Hi, we're here.
We're here.
We made it.
We're officially sisters-in-laws.
Yes.
How do you say it?
I think sister-in-laws.
Sister-in-laws. Yeah, that's how you say it. And our connection has always been so strong. And we're both very empowered women with our communities that we work for and share gifts with. And we decided that to start having our conversations publicly would just be fun.
It's exciting. I think we have a really good, strong connection and bond, not only just in friendship, but also now in sisterhood. And we have very deep conversations, like a couple of weeks ago at getting pedicures. And we're like, why don't we just do this for everyone? Because it's so real and people can tap into it and also connect with us too. So here we are, the first episode of Sisterhood Meets Motherhood.
Sisterhood meets motherhood. Like, how do you actually blend the need for having friendship and sisterhood and also all the responsibilities that come with being a parent and being a woman in this world? So in that way of actually taking care of ourselves and respecting ourselves before we dive in, let's check in with our heart, body, mind.
So Sophie, we always want to check in with just seeing how we are being in this moment versus how we're doing. And I think when you stop in the moment and actually see how you're being versus doing, it makes a big difference. So how are you being today in this moment?
It's Friday. There's always this desire for like more and more space for my feminine, like more and more space just to be and
to create.
Yeah. Like to create and connect. And after a week of doing probably a little more than I would want, I'm landing. I'm like coming back down to the place where I really feel free to be me. And I'm also working on agility. Like I can be in that. I can be in holding space and creating and producing and writing emails. And I can also
bring it back
like a ninja. I'm like here now with you.
Yes. And I know we've been very excited to do this. And so I feel like super excitement that it's all coming together. It's a lot of moving parts. And I know that we're here to show up in this authentic space. Like we're real women, real moms, real sisters, real wives, real daughters. And we want that to come across where we can connect with you guys here through our audio and through our video so that you feel like you're not alone and you have a community. And that's exactly what our episode is today.
But first, how are you being?
Oh,
what about you? Classic mom move.
Here I am to show up for you guys. So how I'm being in this moment. I feel incredible. I've been on this journey and I feel like when I zoom out, it's been wild and crazy and really hard. A lot of things I've been through. And as I zoom back into this moment, I feel wonderful. Like I'm in my place. I've made it past so much. And looking back, I'm just so excited for what's to come. And so I really feel in good space. I really feel am leading in the right direction, not only for my family and for my children, but also for my business. And so I'm being very well today. I'm really excited and getting to reconnect on a different level here with my new sister-in-law, who has really felt like a sister forever since I met her. This is going to be really fun and something that I think is just calling to my heart. So
it feels really good.
Very well.
I like it. So good. Okay. So the topic today is we're not meant to do it alone. And I think I felt that this concept of sisterhood, like the first time I met you, literally a week after I met your brother, he was like, you're going to be my sister now. And you're going to sit down. He had me arrive before he was getting there. And we did. I dropped in. We dropped in.
We're like, hi,
here's my whole life story. Like, and it just, sisterhood is so universal. And when you meet like the true sisters, it's so, it's just so easy and it's so needed. And so I wanted to start for this topic of we're not meant to do it alone by sharing a story that I haven't told you.
Okay.
So it's new.
I'm excited.
So I moved to Denver when I was 23.
Okay.
And I really believe that Denver and Colorado is a place for healing.
Mhm.
Like something about the frequency here, just like people are like, oh, I'm going to have to like heal and look at myself and be better.
Yeah.
Heal and look at myself. And so I was really in this process of trying to become my best self and looking at what I needed to bring in or what I needed to let go of so that I could really do that.
Okay.
And I found a mentor who's an older woman. Actually, she was a Longmont, which is very.
I've heard of her.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
You've mentioned
Jenny.
her before.
And she invited me to a space with other women, a circle with other women, like really empowered women. And in that space, we got to share and we got to dance and move and be. And it was like, my heart was like, oh my gosh, I haven't really felt this, and I really need this. It's like an essential ingredient for surviving and thriving in this world, to be with other women that are present with their bodies and present with each other. And what I shared in the circle, that I was like with tears of this realization that it's not going so well for the collective. I said, I just feel like there's so many women sitting in their living rooms by themselves. And that's not how it's supposed to be. Like
even before the pandemic.
Yeah, no, this was before. This was like, years ago. I was like, I just had this visual of like all these women sitting in their living room, like watching TV and like then going to cook dinner and doing the laundry.
Lonely.
And lonely. And that's not right. Like that's not how we are supposed to do it.
I agree. And I feel like community is such an important part. Like I always say to other moms, like it takes a village, and it does. And that sounds like such a silly term, but it takes a village for a lot of reasons, because we weren't meant to do this on our own. In my faith and belief, I know very much that when I give things to the Lord, it takes that weight off my chest. And for me, I also believe people are put into your life like you. That's really, really powerful, because you can't do it all. And when you try to, you set the bar for failure. And then it's hard and it's hurtful and it's frustrating. And then you feel depleted and alone. And when you can step into that role with other women and ask for help and work together and step up in your strengths, like we talked about, even in this podcast, we're like, who says what? How do we do this? Right? We're real life over here. Yeah. But even then, the desk went up. The desk just went up. Like, even then, leveling up. Even then, like you have to be able to step into your strengths and own that and know when to ask for help. And I'm with you. I think in that same space, in my lifestyle, this last 10 years, we went back and forth overseas, which is really secluded but also so beautiful to meet different people. And it always takes a village, and you have to be able to be open to accepting that as well.
Yeah. And what I love about our connection, especially, is that we're both very connected to our hearts, but in different ways. Like you have a strong faith in Christianity, right? Yeah. And I grew up Jewish, and I just have a strong spiritual faith with connection to nature in my heart. And so it's different, but because we're open enough to meet each other and recognize that we're like actually going to the same place where we connect.
Absolutely.
We get to support each other. And I think especially now we have to be open to connecting with people that don't seem exactly like us.
Meeting them where they're at.
Yeah.
Because every single one of you listening in here are in a different space and a different belief and a different walk of life. And that's okay. And that's welcome, because it would be no fun if we were all the same. Like if we all had the same belief and the same like in food and the same taste of coffee, like that's no fun. Like there's beauty in being your own and do that and not have to. I think social media really gets to me in the sense that there's this comparison and this highlight reel. And then you spend your whole day wanting to look like this person or have a business like this person, and you're not getting to like truly step into who you are. And it just depletes you, of who you were created and what your purposes are here on this earth.
Yeah. Comparison is like the downfall of the woman. It really is. Really? Like, 'cause it's not true. It's like, we're just different. And yeah, but I'm getting curious as we're talking about this, because I don't necessarily know, like, have you, your child self and high school self, have you always felt connected to the whole? Were you kind of doing your own thing? Did you have friends?
I've always been connected to having that community, and I grew up playing a lot of sports. So for me, every sport, it was like a team sport. Volleyball was my sport. I went to college for volleyball. I won a national championship playing volleyball. And for me, I knew that, in volleyball, it's a bump, set, spike. I can't do all three of those, or I'd get called and it'd be their ball. So it's like having that teamwork. And I think for me, being married now to a professional athlete and having 3 little boys who are very athletic, I think sports are so much more than what the world makes them to be. They're actually so much that teach you in life with teamwork and community and the structure that you can't do it alone. And you're going to have bad days, but that's when your teammate's having a great day. And it's the same thing in the work world or in your family situation. Maybe when, your spouse is having a rough day, you can show up and level up and be there, and vice versa. You get to play that role, even for your kids. I have 3 amazing kids. I know we're going to start talking about that as the podcast goes on, but my boys very much play a role in not doing this alone. Traveling across the world. I've told her many stories. My oldest son is 10, then 8-year-old and 4-year-old. And we've been traveling overseas for 10 years on and off every 9 months, changing countries and cultures and languages. And he's like my right-hand man. And for me, it's like really powerful to have a teammate, and it takes a community in all realms, but you have to step back and accept that as well.
Yeah, totally. And now your husband's calling.
Yes.
He hears you. He's like, I need you. You're not alone. And I'm
He
not
is
alone.
8 hours ahead over there.
That's perfect. No, so that was reminding me, we were at your boys' football games last week.
Yes.
And I was reflecting on how, like, especially your little one, he's 4.
Yeah, he's 4
now. It was like his chance to be seen. Like, that's such an important.
Yes, it's like his moment.
Yeah. By all his family, they're just like seeing him however he is. He could have been like laying on the grass and we would have been like, woo! It's so important to like feel connected and to be seen and to get all of these psychological needs met. And we'll get more into that. I know you're already sharing about kind of your family's life moving abroad for sports, and you're an amazing leader in the wellness community sharing doTERRA oils.
Yeah.
But it's so much more than the oils. It's like just being there for people and saying, it's like, I've called you when I'm having autoimmune issues or fertility questions, and yes, you offer an oil, but you also offer your heart.
Yes.
It's so
I think that's huge, because like you have to be real. We were talking about this earlier. Like when I can sit down with someone and be honest and real in all aspects of like, okay, we deal with anxiety and stress and depression, real life. And when you can know that you're not alone in that, you're able to show up and do the healing process. Yeah. Otherwise, you just feel like it's only me. I'm the only one dealing with it. Something's wrong with me. But instead, you step into that of like, okay, I'm not the only one. And I can have this community and space to heal and grow and change and be a part of that. So yeah, I very much think that it's important with healing and wellness. And that's why I love it. I get to connect and help others. And I feel like we all have a purpose and passion on this earth. And at times it feels like you don't know. For me, I'm like, some mornings I'm like, okay, God woke me up again. I have another purpose. Like I'm here for something. So let me know what that is. And I just ask for people that need that support and healing and wellness. And there's beautiful tools on this earth, natural, beautiful tools, beautiful time and place for Eastern and Western medicine, but very much tapping into just that confidence and knowing that we have a tool belt and you have to use it. And that taps in with that community and everything full circle.
Yeah. And you couldn't have the tools without the community. And the community needs the tools.
Exactly. To work all together.
Yeah. And I'll talk, there will be time, like there in other episodes, I'll share more about, I'm a therapist with children and a parent coach. And such a big part of my passion is parenting and children and working with mothers that are feeling alone. But just to share vulnerably about this topic of, we're not meant to do it alone. A little bit more about my story is that I'm married to your brother.
Yes, my middle brother, Kendall.
Your brother had 2 children before I met him, who are now my stepchildren. And it has been a journey to choose to parent children that I didn't create.
Yes.
It's never how you thought it was going to be. Like I had visions of just meeting a man on the street and then we have a child and everything's perfect. And it's complicated. And oh my gosh, I love these kids so much. And you know how lovable they are.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like amazing. And there's vulnerability in connecting with other women around my truth, because it's not the average story and there's confusion that comes up. And I even said to you, well, I can't do this podcast yet. I'm not a mother yet.
And I was like, what are you talking about? Do you know how many women out there can connect with you that are in the same role? Even our other sister-in-law, same situation. Like everyone can take from whatever walk of life, and not everyone has my route. Not everyone has yours.
Yeah.
I've been through a divorce and a reconciliation and we're back together. And like, we are real so mothers, real women. We're here. And I think that you're going to very much relate to us in a lot of ways. And on that note, she's a brilliant therapist. And as you get to know her more, you're going to see how just grounded and connected and helpful she is. But I think the timing that she came into my niece and nephew's life for their development and their journey is the most beautiful thing, to have this bonus mom. You know, they have amazing parents that did create them, and they're very lucky to have both their parents, but to have a bonus mom to bring all this extra added healing and growth and just togetherness with your family unit. Like, I'm so grateful for her to be my new sister-in-law, and for my brother to have her too. So it's just fun. We show up, we're real. We don't have the perfect life. And in fact, no one listening to this does, and it's okay. And we can meet you at that. And I hope that you can hear us like we want you to, because we're here for you. And now we're part of your community to get through things as well.
Yeah, there's so much power in just feeling validated in your experience and the messiness. Like that's really, and that's
messy is a great word.
Yeah, that's something I really drive home with parents I work with. Like, your child just wants to be validated. They want you to say, I believe you that you're feeling this way, even if the thing they're feeling is like, why, the fact that like this is sitting on the desk is bothering you. Like the silliest things, but like for them that feels uncomfortable, and they need to be believed. So
being heard is so important.
Yeah. So hopefully this is an opportunity for us to be heard and by each other, and to share and to feel validated, and for you to feel even more space to do the same.
Yeah. We're going to show up and bring that to you guys, and you can literally hear us, but you're heard as well, because we're here for you. And we very much feel that in this community that we're creating right now.
In this
podcast.
Right now. So we're going to try to keep them quick. We know that the attention span of humans in this moment is not very long, so thank you for still being here. And we'll have a different topic each week. Every 2 weeks we'll come on with another topic. We were talking, our next one will probably be around anxiety. I think
real life.
Real life. We all have it. And we'll just, before we wrap up, we wanted to make sure we could relate this topic to the gifts that we share. So Kendra, what's an oil that we can be using to help with the sense of connection and belonging?
There's so many oils and options. I feel like very intuitive to grab certain ones. And this morning I brought the ones together that I wanted, but right here is the one that we actually use. It's called Brave, and it's from the kids collection, but ironically it's for everyone, not just kids. It's the Courageous blend. And I really truly believe that you have to step into that and have courage to have that confidence to be able to show up in a circle in a community. You can't just be a part of a community and be quiet and sit back. You have to play your part. And sometimes that takes, stepping out of your comfort zone and doing that. And it takes courage to do that. And so this one literally smells like orange Skittles. It's one of my boys' favorites. I love that I'm raising 3 little boys into men in this world, which is a very mighty job, especially in the world and society we live in. And this is actually when my oldest son, at times he'll walk past me and he smells like this. And my mom heart is just like, I'm doing something right. They recognize their emotion. They have a natural tool that they can support it. And it's for everyone, kids and adults alike, but Brave Courage blend from the kids collection would be one that can really help you connect and step into this moment in this community.
So good.
And for you, brilliant in all of her ways with her therapy and psychologist mindset. So what are some tools or aspects that you could bring to this topic that could help them as they part?
So the word that came to mind that I want to share that you might have heard of is co-regulation.
Okay.
Have you heard this word? So it's based on the idea, and so moms out there, I think you'll understand this, that when you're growing your baby inside of you, they're borrowing your nervous system to survive. So they don't actually have the capacity for their own heartbeat to be regulated. You're doing that for them. Like, you are their life force. When our babies are bored, we're still offering the co-regulation in so many ways. Not to get dark with this, but there's actually a syndrome called failure to thrive of babies that didn't get loving care and attention and attunement, and they didn't survive. So your babies need you to regulate with them and to kind of share in that heartbeat. And it becomes more than the heartbeat. It's actually like, we're going to meet in a place and then we can ground together. Okay. And the reason I want to share this is because adults need this too. Kids aren't the only ones that need co-regulation. Like, we so badly need co-regulation to feel okay. And it's kind of ironic because in today's world, a lot of times we want to isolate, or we're like, well, I'll just figure it out on my own until like, I'll talk to you in 3 weeks when I'm in an easier time. And in fact, those are usually the moments that our nervous systems literally need to co-regulate. It can be through touch. It can be through just being together, like eye contact. So I wanted to share this for your kids and also for you, like you get to say to yourself, I need co-regulation, and how am I going to find that today?
That's beautiful. This is so fun, you guys. And we had just kind of made this idea of this podcast because it felt so like organic and natural, but really bringing the best of both of our strengths and being able to tie in natural wellness with all these amazing like concepts. I'm super excited. So to wrap it up and to close with this, we just want to help you guys and kind of, I don't know how we say this, but like, where are you at and how are you going to lead going into the week after hearing this with your heart, right?
Yeah, because we're like so taught to lead with our heads.
Yeah,
it's everything. It's like, how much can you produce? It's in a very masculine driven world, and for the feminine to rise and for us to share love, and yeah, I'm getting all into the woo woo love, but you know what, you take what you want from it. We have to start leading with our hearts and making choices from our hearts and trusting our intuition.
Absolutely.
Even if it's like, what does my heart want for lunch so that my body can be healthy?
Yep. Not what my mind thinks I need to have, but like, what's really going to make you feel good, and how are you going to lead with your heart?
Yeah. So Kendra, how can you lead more with your heart this week?
We started this whole session, which is grounding, and starting the grounding session, I think that I'm going to continue to lead with my heart, grounding to the point where I can be open to being receptive of people to join my community and my circle. I don't ever want to have a wall up where someone feels like they can't be a part of that. And so I really want to lead with just authenticity and, you know, that a grounded space people can come to, because this world's crazy. And I feel like we very much get to be in control of that. So how are you going to lead this week with your heart?
I love that, what you just shared, and I can relate. But for me, as I was sharing about co-regulation, I was realizing I create my own blocks to getting that. Like, sure. I really sometimes like, okay, I'll just get this done. Like, I'll get this coffee date done, and then I can go home and like just be in my own space. Like, I really have that.
Check it off.
Yeah, like that introvert part of me. And so my challenge for myself is, how can I actually receive in those moments? Like, I have a coffee date later today with someone I love, but what part of me would want to go in and just get it done, you know? And it's like, how can I actually let this be a receptive experience where I get to co-regulate with someone that I love and respect? And
that brings like a deep breath to me. That's a great example and reminder. And I hope you guys can all lead with your heart this week after listening to this episode, and that this brought you some type of goodness in your life as well. We're excited to keep doing this. It's going to flow and progress as we go, and just know we're real human over here too. So we're going to have bloopers and mess ups, but we want to show up and just be real. And hopefully that can bring some beautiful things to your life.
That's it. We'll see you soon. Bye.